Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you're a first-time visitor, thanks for coming. Please subscribe if you're a returning visitor viewer. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. We have memberships, so you can certainly join and become a member. We have some cool emojis and badges that you can flash in the chat. And please remember to give me that thumbs up, like, and of course, as I mentioned, subscribe. We have a lot to talk about. I've mentioned this in the past. First, also, I forgot, if you're watching on replay, thank you so much for watching on replay. I love the replay viewers. And please drop in the chat where you're watching from, because I always love going back and seeing where everybody is watching from. It's really exciting. There are so many people from different countries watching and different cities and states around the country. So as you know, we have 300 reports from Moscow PD. And I feel like it's going to take forever to maybe get through a lot of them or all of them. And they're chock full of information. Different people are finding different things in all of these. But one of the things that just came out that I requested as soon as Bryan Kohberger, the announcement came out that he pleaded guilty, was this traffic stop from the Latah County Sheriff's Office. It was from August of 2022. And we knew about this traffic stop very early on. Everybody, when Bryan Kohberger was arrested, was searching for anything about him. And this is one of the things that came up. And it took place in August of 2022, as I mentioned. And, the video's been out now for more than 24 hours, but I thought we should come on and talk about it because it's pretty significant. The reason we haven't seen it until now is because the prosecutors didn't want it released. They were going to use it at trial. All of the other traffic stops, we've seen those because the prosecution, to our knowledge, wasn't going to use these at trial, but they were going to use this one. So I think it's important. It came up in pretrial hearings. The defense didn't want it used, but the prosecution said basically, no, we need to use this, and this is why. And I'm going to play those clips for you here. But first, we're going to go through it and explain why the prosecution wanted to use it. I also put up a poll. I interviewed Chief Fry after the sentencing, and I kind of wanted to know if you guys were interested in seeing that full interview. I was going to post it and just, as a self-contained video. I also did a video about Bryan Kohberger's arrest, what happened when they arrested him and what he said in the interview room. But I posted that as like a standalone video. I just tried to post that in the chat and it didn't work. So I will try to do that again. Virginia asks, have you read supplement 73? I don't know if I have. I may have. I can check that out, though. You're now piquing my interest. So I'm going to look that up here in a second if I can multitask and try to do that. But good evening, Virginia. And I just hit that by accident. So what's interesting about this traffic stop is that it took place and it's dark. It's late at night. Bryan Kohberger is basically nocturnal, and it takes place late at night, after 11:30 at night. And it's in Moscow, Idaho. Technically, I guess in the jurisdiction of, Latah County, the county's jurisdiction, because it was a sheriff's deputy who pulled him over. And he's in his white Hyundai Elantra. It's dark out. You can't really see much. And Bryan Kohberger is apparently speeding. And so he's less than 2 miles away from the King Road neighborhood. And it's interesting because he's in a location that's actually fairly well traveled. He's near a shopping center. And I can pull up a map and show you exactly where he is. He's by like the Winco grocery store. And he's also by, the Target. There's an Ulta. There are all these different stores. It's like the Palouse shopping center. So he's right by that. He's also by this Best Western hotel where I stayed when I covered the case. So I'm going to show you a little bit of this video and tell you what I think is important about it. I think it goes without saying, Bryan Kohberger is like, he gets pulled over pretty frequently. I mean, if we go back and look at this is like 4 traffic stops in a matter of like 5 months, August, October, and then 2 in December within a matter of minutes. I mean, he's not a very good driver. So let's take a look at this and see what you guys think about it.
Wait till 329 traffic. Pullman and Farm with Pennsylvania. Lincoln Frank Zebra 8649. Hey there. I stopped you going a little fast. You didn't realize this is 35?
Oh, it's 35?
It is, yeah. So you're going
about 41?
Yeah, 43 is what the radar said.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Do you have your license, the registration, insurance? Were you wearing your seatbelt when I stopped you? No. No? That's no good.
Right. Just being honest with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You guys are...
So he says he wasn't wearing his seatbelt when he stopped him. And he says, well, I'm just being honest with you. And the deputy says, well, I appreciate that. And so then it continues.
Absolutely no point in not being honest.
Yeah.
You have a radar.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a vehicle registration slip or something like that? Okay.
Or did I give you my insurance?
Yeah, this is your insurance. That's good. Thing is, I'm on a overtime shift right now. One of the conditions is we have to enforce seatbelt laws, and so to write you a citation for that, it's $10 in Idaho. Not a huge deal, but yeah. Be right back.
Okay, so he's running it and it comes back clean, no big deal. Of course, not a huge deal. And then he's going to go back and talk to him again. And you obviously get this huge, you get this bird's eye view of the white Elantra here. I see that somebody is making a comment and moderator said, good eye, Christy. So let's, what did Christy say? Now I'm curious about what Christy said. I'll have to find that, but let's watch as Deputy Duke goes back to the car, and you can actually you get a really good view of the white Elantra.
All right, sir. Here's your license back. It's here. Just infraction citation. The only thing you're alleging failure to wear your seatbelt on the traffic stop. Like I said, the fine at that's $10. You do have the right to a hearing on this if you'd like one. If you'd like hearing, you need to request it before September 8th at 8:30. Otherwise, they'll automatically be entered against you. You'll lose the right to the hearing. You just wanted to pay it. The mailing address there, website right there.
Yeah, I just have a question about that. So in terms of when you get a speeding ticket, that's obviously reported to your insurance. Is that the same thing with the seatbelt?
I don't think so. I think it's only moving violations that go to insurance, or things that might put points on your license.
So he's worried about, maybe his insurance rates going up because he got a seatbelt ticket. So that's not going to happen from that.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Could I get a phone number from you?
Yeah, why?
We need to put it on the citation as it goes to the court. Like,
So they've redacted some information
Just for
here
future
that.
reference, I mean, I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my safety belt.
uh-huh.
When people lie to you about that,
So he's saying here, I'm
As
an
it goes to
honest person, and so then he asks a question here.
Okay. Could I get a phone number from you?
yeah, why?
We need to put it on the citation as it goes to the court. Like,
So he's asking, why do you need my phone number? Why do you want my phone number? So he's questioning that. So that's kind of interesting.
And just for future reference, I mean, I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my safety belt.
uh-huh.
When people lie to you about that, say I lied to you about that, right?
Mhm.
Just for my own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly go back and look at that, or do you just...
With a seatbelt like this, I didn't check as I was coming up, so that's why I asked you.
Do you usually?
I should. I noticed you weren't wearing it, and I'm on this emphasis, and like I said, I'm getting paid by ICD, and they want us to enforce the seatbelt law, so I was being more aware of that. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Yeah. So it's he's asking, like, I didn't lie to you, but if people lie to you about that, he's kind of asking what can happen. So let's go back and listen to that again.
Uh-huh.
When people lie to you about that, and just for future reference, I mean, I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my safety belt.
Uh-huh.
When people lie to you about that, say I lied to you about that, right?
Mhm.
Just for my own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly go back and look at that, or do you just...
With a seatbelt like this, I didn't check as I was coming up, so that's why I asked you.
Do you usually?
I should. I noticed you weren't wearing it, and I'm on this emphasis, and like I said, I'm getting paid by ICD, and they want us to enforce the seatbelt law, so I was being more aware of that. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
So, he's like, say I lied to you about that, for my reference or whatever. Do you go back and, he's kind of like, it's kind of weird because it's kind of weird because he's asking, would you kind of go back and look at that? I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me that he was concerned about, like, kind of asking that question. So put in the comments what you guys think of that. And because I'm really interested in seeing what you all think about that. Tyga June says it's not a normal question. Oh, my mouse is sticking here, guys. Yeah, it's not a normal question. So that's pretty interesting. So I found that to be kind of interesting that he would even ask that. Like, so there's nothing that stands out about that. If you're just a deputy pulling somebody over for speeding, and then you go up and you see that they don't have their seatbelt on, just a normal kind of interaction, no big deal at all. But the prosecution was going to use this at trial, and the defense did not want this coming in. They were very concerned about this. And so I'm going to play a clip for you from the defense, and they're going to tell you why they were so concerned about this. So they asked Judge Hippler, the trial, it didn't happen, but they were preparing for trial. And they asked Judge Hippler to not allow the prosecution to show this. They were like, no, you can't show this to the jury. There's no reason to show this to the jury, and it's prejudicial. So this is from a hearing back in April. And listen to Alyssa Masseth, one of his attorneys, talk about why they just didn't think that the jury should ever see this. Sorry, guys, my mouse is sticking for some reason. Here, we'll try that again. Oh, it keeps popping up and then not popping on here. Sorry, guys. Trying to get that up for you. It's right here. Oh, do you guys see this on this playing?
Brings in other acts that the state is trying to end run on.
Okay, here we go, guys.
It's our position that the traffic stop video brings in other acts that the state is trying to end run on. And I want to give you examples. In this video, things that make it more prejudicial than probative are that it provides presence in Moscow. It is at night. It is a visual of the car that is not just the make and model. It is Mr. Kohberger's statement that he doesn't think seat belts provide much in the way of safety. Mr. Kohberger's question about why they need his phone number. Mr. Kohberger's question about how the officer reacts when people lie to him about wearing a seatbelt. If the court allows this evidence in, the state has the ability to use this to make many other points beyond identity. And the jury would have the ability to potentially seek to ask to rewatch the video and draw other conclusions that we are worried about, such as I mentioned, him being at night, not wanting to, it being at night, him not wanting to give his phone number, which could be construed as he wants to hide his identity.
Date of this traffic stop?
Pardon?
Remind me of the date of the traffic stop.
It is on August 21st. So it's
What year?
of 2022. So it's remote. It's
Before the murders.
yeah, yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you what the significance of that date is. The significance of that date is that it's the night before. It's the night before the fall semester began at the University of Idaho. The classes at the University of Idaho started on August 22nd, 2022. So this is like 11:34, 11:37 at night that Bryan Kohberger is 1.7, 1.8 miles away from the King Road house. Whether he was in that King Road neighborhood that night, we don't know. But at trial, they were going to present evidence from a cell phone analyst, Nick Balance from the FBI, saying that Bryan Kohberger was, within like a football field of that residence on 23 occasions between July and November 7th, which was a week before the homicides. So that's pretty interesting. He was in that general vicinity, they claim. So this is farther away than that, but he was late at night over in that general area. And this was the night before the classes at the University of Idaho started. So was he just out on one of his night drives, or was he out prowling around looking for a place where students, female students, may be living, a place that might be an easy target for whatever it was he was hoping to do? I mean, I will tell you right now, I've told you guys this before, that I do not believe he went in there with the intention of murdering 4 people. I believe he went in there for one person, and this whole thing spun out of control. I told you I spoke to Chief Dollinger, and he said they don't know whether or not, it was one person or two people. And so I think that they don't have the evidence of that, but they know that he went up to the third floor. They know he went up there. And that's where he went first. And so it's my opinion that he would have to know where he was going. That's my opinion. Now, I just put this up on the screen from CH. CH says you should read the New York Times interview with Thompson. He said they have zero evidence that he was at the house. All the data was from the same tower at the stop, the highway to Pullman. Right. But that's not what was stated in court documents. It was like they did drive testing. Of course, they don't have evidence that he was there. They've said there's no connection. They don't have any evidence of a connection to that house or those victims. But they've said in there, that was what the documents pre-trial said, that this expert was going to testify that he was within like 100-meter radius of that house. That's what he was. That's what the court documents said. And maybe this is why they were like, okay, we'll do this plea deal. Maybe they were worried. Maybe they were worried with that lack of connection that a jury might think, wow, yikes. I mean, that's a risk. That really is a risk. And so Chief Dollinger said they don't know who was targeted. They don't know which room he went into first. Obviously, he went to the third floor first, but they don't know if he went maybe into Keely's room first or Maddie's first, but he certainly ended up in Maddie's room. That's what he told me. So we do know that. But that traffic stop was the night before the classes began at the University of Idaho. So here's what Bill Thompson said in response to Alyssa Masseth pre-trial, because he was like, tough, like we should be able to show this. So here's Bill Thompson.
Just because it's prejudicial and just because the defendant...
Oh, hear me back that
evidence. Just because it's prejudicial and just because the defendant doesn't like the fact that we can prove who he is, that we can prove what car he's driving, that we can prove what his phone number is, that we can prove his address. I mean, those are all things that tie together to connect the defendant to the homicides. Just because they don't like that isn't a basis to object to it. And so, Your Honor, we would ask that the court...
So basically, he was like, just because it shows these things and they don't like it, he's in Moscow in his car in the dark, and it shows him in his car with that phone number that we later used to, have him pinging in Moscow on 23 occasions in that radius of the house, doesn't mean we shouldn't be allowed to use it. So, they were going to be allowed to use it with some redactions. The judge said they had to make some redactions to it. So I'm wondering what you guys think about this. And the fact that basically they didn't have this connection. Do you think that's why they agreed to the plea deal? Do you think when Kohberger was willing to plead guilty, the state was like, maybe they saw some things in their case that they believed could be potentially weaknesses or potential weaknesses. And they were prepared to go to trial because he wasn't going to plead. And they were like, yeah, okay, so let's wrap this up. He's going to admit to it. And it is near the Winco. That traffic stop was near the Winco. Lindsay Fishlung, thank you for the super sticker. It's very sweet of you. So I'm going to look at some of your comments, guys, and see what you're saying. about the video. Yeah, we're not. Elizabeth says, thus far, FOIA for jail calls has been denied. You're not going to get the jail calls. You would only get the jail calls if they were going to be used as evidence at trial. And those are just not going to be released between he and his mom. And Lieutenant Gilbertson said there was nothing of any evidentiary value on those calls between him and his mom. Coco says, defense always knew he was guilty, no question. CH says, the more info we get, the more murky the evidence gets. Well, let me just tell you, we've had these from the Moscow Police Department, but we don't have the rest. We don't. There's still FBI stuff to be released. There's still stuff from Moscow PD coming. There's Pennsylvania State Police. There's all kinds of stuff. Mandy says their case was not weak. His behavior and activity after returning to PA is damning. No, I agree with you, but I wonder if the state had concerns at all about some of. I think there were potential weaknesses, and I wonder if the lack of connection. They kept saying we wanted that. See if there was something on his phone related to the victims or the house. They kept saying we wanted that. But, they never got it. So I wonder if they were concerned about that. There are always things in a case, even if you have a lot of good evidence, that could be attacked by a defense attorney. Elizabeth said the plea deal had a lot to do with not traumatizing DM and BF since they suffer massive hate. Even to this day, people state all over YouTube that they are the killers. Well, they are not. We will say that right here because we have someone saying that he did it. Nick M., can you make a request for the Kohberger initial police interview video for us? Well, yeah, that's in. That's just, we're waiting for it. Hella says, we've gotten jail calls in other cases that weren't of evidentiary value. I guess it depends on what they want to release. Well, it depends on the laws of each state related to the records. CH says FBI won't release info, will they? We don't know that. We don't know that. So I think we just have to wait and see. They could very well release information. I did see too that Bill Thompson told the New York Times that he could have possibly picked the house that night. I think that he may have said that to the New York Times. I'm not sure I'm buying that. Personally, I think you would, in that house, the weird layout, you would have to know the layout. That's my personal opinion about it. Personally. So I'm looking through your comments, everybody. Carrie says, I think they took the plea only because he would plead guilty to all charges and waive appeals. Very possible. I do think it's interesting that apparently Bill Thompson is shooting down some of the information from the Dateline special. He said that part about, he told Kevin Fixler with the Idaho Statesman that the part about, the killer sitting down in a chair in Xana's room was not true. So I think that was interesting. Teresa T says Bundy had no connection to his victims either. I understand it could be a concern, albeit minor, that a jury would want to have that connection in addition to his DNA and phone records. Right. Yeah. I mean, there may be no connection, zero connection. But when I say connection, I don't mean he knew them. I mean, was he, as I think, possibly perched up in that parking area? Because if you look at that Linda Lane video, he was circling that neighborhood that whole night, or, that from whatever time to 4:07, he was looking for it looks like he was looking for one place. So I think it was that house. Like, why keep circling the area? Just my opinion. Don Lake says, I think he went in that house at one point before the killings. It's possible. We'll never know now unless he decides to say something. Right. And here's the thing. Beverly says he wiped his devices. He could have totally browsed public social media posts. And that's the thing. He very well could have. His computer, they had some experts from Celebrate. His computer at his office at WSU, they had experts from Celebrate who were going to testify that after the homicides, his work computer had been kind of scrubbed. Some software had been run on it. And then, of course, they said he was scrubbing his phone pretty consistently using software. So a lot of people got upset. There's now a lot of people got upset when I didn't read more of the statements from the people immediately on scene that night. Do you guys want me to read some of those? Because I noticed one of the commenters said that I didn't read Hunter Johnson's statement. And I decided to skip over it because of what I was doing, what I was focusing on that night. Somebody just asked me what my background is. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, and I saw we have a new member too. So let me shout out our new member. But are you interested in me going through some of the first witnesses on the scene? Obviously, I think I went through DM's statement the other night. But are we interested in going through? Oh, Thomas says no. Karen says yes. Whitney says yes. Pam says the night before the murders, they had a party with 100 plus kids. He could have blended right in. I don't think he was ever at the house. So I don't think he was ever at the house. And they said with his cell phone records, the last time he was at the house was on November 7th. So according to his cell phone records. Always sells expensive snacks. You guys are hysterical. Oh, wow. Somebody is very generous, gifting 10 memberships. Jack Collins, thank you so much. I'm looking for our new member in here. We have a new member. And I am looking to Chantel Joy, welcome. Thank you for becoming a new member. And then Jack Collins, I will get to your new memberships here very soon. But thank you, Jack, for gifting memberships. That's very, very sweet. So I will shout out those new members here very soon. Mandy, I do not know the dates that he scrubbed his devices. We would have learned that at trial, though. So we just need the reports from the experts. All right. So I am going to Jenny McVick says, thank you for the super chat. He was totally perched out in the back looking through Maddie's window. No question. He had a bird's eye view, sadly. I agree with you 100%. That's what I believe. And, this is just me giving you my opinion from, I've been covering these cases now for almost 20 years. Lots of high profile cases, all kinds of stuff. So I've been doing that, I've been covering these cases for 20 years. When I was in college, I took a lot of these, psychology classes having to do with sadly, with murderers and things like that. I almost minored in psychology. So, I mean, I've just studied this stuff a lot. So, all right, guys. So I talked to you about what Dylan said. And so I talked to you about the very beginning of Dylan's statement. So I think I covered her 11:15. Because she gave a couple of different statements, one on November 13th and then one on November 15th. And there was one of the friends, I think it was Emily Allant, had told the police that she believed they were having a Halloween party on October 29th. And Dylan was at this Halloween party too. And there was a man up in the tree line and Murphy had been barking and stuff. And Murphy wasn't a huge, they made it sound like he wasn't a huge barker, but he was barking that night of the homicides. You can hear him apparently on the videotape from 1112 King Road, right next door. And so there was a Halloween party and there was like a man up in the tree line. And so they felt like he was watching and everybody felt uncomfortable. Even Kaylee did. And so they went in the house. We don't know if that's Bryan Kohberger. It would be interesting to know if that was one of those dates that his phone was in the area. Yes, Natalie. Natalie is asking if he survived. And Murphy did survive. He wasn't harmed. He didn't have a spot of blood on him. So let's look at a little bit of Dylan's statement. And this is the one she said she woke up around 4 a.m. where she could hear Kaylee and Murphy, the dog, dancing, which is kind of interesting. So I don't believe that was Kaylee and Murphy dancing, obviously. She said she knew it was Kaylee because she recognized her voice and could hear Murphy barking. This is so sad. Dylan said she heard Kaylee go upstairs and say, "There's someone here." She said she thought she heard Kaylee run back down the stairs, and she said Kaylee sounded scared when she made this statement. She said at this time she jumped up, locked the door because she did not know what else to do. She said she called out Kaylee's name and did not indicate if she got a response. Dylan said she tried to call Kaylee, Xana, and Maddie on their phones. She was asked if she saw anyone come downstairs or heard anything. And Dylan said, "No, I don't even know how they got in. We're usually pretty good about locking doors and never had problems before. It was just really random." When asked again about the series of events, she said she opened the door when she cried out to Kaylee, then closed the door because she was scared. She said she then opened the door again and heard who she thought was Kaylee, but could have been Xana crying in the bathroom. She then heard a man's voice say, "It's going to be okay. I'm here to help you." Dylan said it was weird because the man he didn't say it in a nice way, and the voice was one she had never heard before. Dylan said she called out to Kaylee, and there was no crying after she did not know what happened and did not know what happened after that. She said she opened the door again, and the guy is right there. 5'10", a few inches taller, not skinny, but athletic build. And she said he was wearing all black with a mask that just covered his forehead and goes around his face. And she showed with her hands that the mask exposed his nose but covered the mouth area. She said she believed the suspect was white but didn't remember his eyebrow color. And this is where she was talking about how he was holding something near his stomach or belt line, and she used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen. Dylan then moved her hands apart and back together to simulate a bulge. Dylan said this area was black in color, and she thought now maybe it was a gun. She said the unknown object had an arrow shape. And there's been a lot of talk about possibly two weapons being used. And this makes me wonder, oh my goodness, were there two weapons, or was she just seeing the knife? Dylan seemed really unsure and said she was tired during the event. She was asked how long she believed it was from the time Kaylee said someone is here until she saw the suspect. She said she thought it was about 10 or 20 minutes. She went on to say she was in and out of it, and she did not fully remember the incident. She was asked where the suspect was at in the residence when Dylan saw him, and she said the suspect was between her bedroom door and the kitchen. Dylan said she remembered watching the suspect go out the kitchen door and leave. She said at this time she closed her door and locked it as fast as she could. So she's saying she saw him go out the slider. Super creepy. Dylan said the suspect did not walk toward her or say anything. She immediately called Bethany, which we know all about this, the calls and the text messages. So now let's go on to Hunter Johnson. Hunter Johnson, everybody was upset. I got a few comments that I didn't read Hunter Johnson's interview. Hunter said around noon, Dylan called Emily, and Dylan told Emily that she thought something was not right in her house. Dylan also told Emily she heard or saw a man in her house the night prior, and Dylan asked Emily and Hunter to come over and make sure everything was okay because she locked herself in Bethany's room. Hunter said he was the first person to get to the residence. Hunter said he entered the code to the front door where Bethany and Dylan were in Bethany's room on the first floor. Dylan and Bethany were telling Hunter they did not know what was going on. Hunter said he went up the stairs and immediately went into Xana's room. Hunter said this was the only room he went into. Hunter said he approached the door and it was only partially open. Hunter said when he opened it, he saw Xana and Ethan. Hunter said he initially did not realize all the blood was dried blood in the room. Hunter said he thought at first they had been drunk and left a mess. Hunter said when he stood there for a moment, he began to realize what he was seeing. Hunter said Bethany and Dylan were uncontrollably crying. Hunter said he told them to get out of the house and to call law enforcement. Hunter then said he went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer. Hunter said he went into the room and checked the closet to make sure there was not anyone else in the room. Hunter said he checked for a pulse on both Xana and Ethan, and he said both of their bodies had rigor mortis and were cold with no breath or pulse. Hunter said he believed the two had been deceased for a while. Hunter said he left he grabbed a knife, out of the kitchen drawer, and he left that knife on the folding table in the living room. Hunter said Emily, Josie, and someone else started to enter the house and come up the stairs. Hunter told them to get out of the residence, and he said this was about the time that Moscow PD arrived. Hunter said the officers told him to stay where he was, and he said he did not know if anyone else was upstairs as he had not gone anywhere else in the house. Hunter said he had trouble comprehending what he was seeing. Hunter said he was not at the Sigma Chi party the night prior. He said he and Ethan were texting the night prior by phone, and he said Ethan wanted him to come over, but Hunter chose not to. Hunter said he knew Ethan since the fall of 2021, and Hunter said he was in, and it's blacked out, and Ethan was a member of Sigma Chi. Hunter indicated that Josie and Emily were in the same sorority, and there's a redaction. Hunter said he and Emily stayed at Josie's apartment with Emily, or I think I'm misreading some of these redactions. He's talking about where he stayed the night before. Hunter was asked when was the last time he was at 1122 King Road, and he indicated he was at the residence the day before, where he was pre-gaming for the Vandals football game. Hunter said he got to the residence at around 12 or 1 and left at about 2:30 to go to a different party. And he said the last time Ethan was at 1122 King Road was Friday, 11/11/22, that Friday. Hunter did not know of anyone who had issues with Ethan and Xana dating, and he estimated Xana and Ethan were dating for 8 months. He said he knew Xana very well through his girlfriend, Emily. Hunter said he was not very familiar with Maddie or Kaylee. Hunter allowed pictures to be taken of his phone of the conversations between him and Ethan. So it's very, very sad. And then we have another interview of JM. And I'm having trouble recognizing JM. I know we have a JL. So there are other friends who were interviews. And all of these interviews were video recorded. Thank you so much for the super chat, JS218. Will we ever get the arrest video or law enforcement interview? We should. We should eventually. Those record requests are all pending. So we should be getting those very, very soon. Here's the part about the tree line, guys. I'm going to read that now. This is really quite scary. It's JM, and I'm having trouble placing these names, so I apologize. Jay said she texted Bethany at 11:20 that morning of 11/13/2022. Jay asked Bethany if she was awake, and Jay said Bethany called her back at 11:49. Bethany told Jay she and Dylan were in Bethany's room, and Jay said Bethany was freaked out because her roommates were not answering the phone. Jay said she heard Dylan on the phone in the background saying, "I saw something." Jay said Bethany asked her to come over to 1122 King Road and pick her up. Jay said Bethany texted her while she was driving there and said, Ethan and Hunter, or I'm sorry, Emily and Hunter were on the way as well. There are redactions, meaning this is blacked out. So I'm trying to piece together who everybody is. Jay said when she arrived, MPD units were arriving as well. Jay said she did not go to the Sigma Chi party, but went to a different party instead. Jay said Bethany and Dylan came to this other party after she left. Jay estimated Dylan left the party at 12:30, and Bethany left her party at about 1 a.m. Jay said that she was in, it's redacted, with Dylan, Elle, and Bethany and Xana. So I'm assuming that's their sorority. Jay said Xana and Maddie were both in their sorority. I forget the name. It's escaping me right now. I apologize. But they dropped out, and Kaylee was in her sorority. I think it was Alpha Phi or something, but dropped out as well. Jay suspected the girls dropped their respective sororities because of issues with other girls in the houses. Jay specifically cited girls on the executive board who tell other members what to do. Jay suspected this is what they did not like. Jay confirmed she, Elle, and Bethany and Dylan were still active members in their sorority. Jay said the girls who were still active members of the sorority who choose not to live in the house did so because of money issues. Jay said Maddie was Bethany's big sister in the sorority house. Jay said she knew Kaylee. This is the scary part. Jay said she knew Kaylee saw a dark figure staring at her from the tree line when she took her dog Murphy out to pee. Jay said this occurred about a month ago at 1122 King Road. Jay said there has been lighthearted talk and jokes made about a stalker in the past. Jay said there has been lighthearted. Jay said all the girls were slightly nervous about it being a fact, though. Jay did not indicate any social media issues or girls from the sorority and the residents at 1122 King Road. Jay said the front door had issues with locking and sometimes it could be opened without a code. Jay said she did know the code to the front door. Jay said she was unsure if the residents kept the back sliding door locked regularly. So then there's another interview with the initials that I'm not really recognizing these interviews. Elle said he did not go to this is LB, did not go to the Sigma Chi party. Elle said he went to sleep at 8 o'clock at Josie's apartment on Taylor Avenue. Elle said he woke up around 2 or 3 a.m. and said Josie and Emily were talking in the living room of the apartment until 5 a.m. He indicated that someone was present but not awake during this time. Elle said he walked with Emily and Josie to 1122 King Road from Josie's apartment on Taylor Avenue. Elle said Dylan and Bethany walked out of the house crying. Elle said that Hunter arrived to the residence first because he left before them. Elle said he went into the downstairs door and Hunter told him to not come up the stairs. Elle said he did not know Ethan very well. Elle said he did not recall any talk between Xana and Josie about boy issues. Elle said he did not see anything on social media, and Elle recalled an incident from a month prior where Dylan said there was a guy stalking her. Dylan said he did not hear anything from the night prior. And so it really makes me wonder, guys, was this guy they saw in the tree line? I mean, was it just a guy walking around, or was it Bryan Kohberger? I mean, was he, they said he was in Moscow between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. But I'm thinking he would have been in his car. So we need to know like what time of night that was, and especially at the Halloween party, was his car or was his phone in Moscow that night? It was October 29th, 2022. So it'd be really helpful to see that FBI cast report, the PowerPoint. So we should get a hold of that at some point. Dalal Hassan says Hunter is scarred for life. I would agree with you 100%. 100%. Poor guy. I mean, can you imagine finding anybody like that, but let alone your best friend and his girlfriend? And then listening to that 911 call, it's just like horrific. Jody RN says there were always strange people in and out of their house. Not sure why Dylan thought BK was unique. I think it's because he was wearing a mask and everything. She maybe thought it wasn't real or whatever. Her aunts have started a GoFundMe for her, and I think it's raised more than $50,000. Ash Axiom, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I really appreciate that. So I'm looking through your comments, guys. There's a lot of really interesting stuff in here. Like one of the things I found very interesting that I read about, there is a woman who called the police after the arrest. And she said she was at the Costco in Clarkston, Washington, the day of the homicides, later in the day, like in the afternoon. And there was a bridge. And she said, I saw this guy and I've seen Bryan Kohberger on the news. And I'm pretty sure like it looked like it could have been him, like on this grassy area off of the bridge. And she said, her eyes met his, but then he kind of looked away. And she thought it was really weird because he was wearing business casual clothes. So I wanted to show you guys this is what Bryan Kohberger was wearing the morning of the homicides. This is at like 9:30 a.m. That looks like business casual to me. Does it look like business casual to you? Because it certainly does to me. And this woman said she saw a man, by this bridge, the Red Wolf River Bridge. And she didn't say she saw him carrying anything or like anything like that, but she thought it was weird. He was in a grassy area and he was wearing business casual clothes. And she thought it was Bryan Kohberger. Nobody knew at that time that this existed. The public certainly didn't know. So I think that's really interesting. So I'm going to go through a few more of your comments. And then we can wrap things up for the night. I mean, there's other things to talk about in here as well, but I just thought that traffic stop was pretty interesting. Again, the fact that it happened 11:30 at night, less than 2 miles from the King Road house, near the Winco, that shopping area right at that corner, at that intersection, the night before fall classes began at the University of Idaho. So all of the students, were back. They were back as class was getting ready to start. Oh, I see that Gray Hughes Investigates is in here. So I see Hey Gray. I see people commenting Hey Gray. So I'm going to looking to Virginia says they need to check a soil sample from there against the soil found on the shovel. I think they already did. They took a bunch of different soil samples. The FBI did, and they said it matched or was it was they said it was similar to the soil found like basically in the Moscow area, but that bridge was in the Clarkston, Washington area down by the Costco. I'm looking for more of your comments, guys. Oh, Cindy, Red Wolf, that's different. Well, let me pull up the exact name of the bridge. Maybe hopefully I'm not mispronouncing the bridge. I've got the I've got it right here. We used it today in today's crime fix, breaking down this traffic stop and really all of the lies that Bryan Kohberger told. We found quite a number of lies that he told to different people in the documents. So I will pull that up right now, Cindy. So it is the Red Wolf Bridge. Yeah, in Clarkston, Washington. So that was the bridge. So there you go. I've got a lot of other documents that we can talk about. It's just getting through them all. I mean, I've gotten through a lot of them, but it's actually getting on here and talking about them is another thing. Cindy says, no, you're right. There's just upriver and there's downriver. Okay. Yeah. Gray, I would have to look and give you the number. I just pulled up a screen grab because I was taking screen grabs of it, but I'd have to find the exact number and get that to you. I don't remember the exact number. Jen McVick, thank you for the super chat. Did I hear correct that Dan from the Drunk Turkey Show said that you knew who Papa Roger was? Maybe I heard wrong. No, I don't know who Papa Roger is, but I'm friends with the account on Facebook. And I have been friends with the account for a really long time, since like early 2023. So I've been friends with that account for a really long time and have emailed that account, or not emailed, but PM'd, private messaged that account many, many times. So, it's been something I've done for a long time, and the person has never responded, but they accepted my friend request. So I think that's super interesting. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Cindy. Thank you so much. Cindy's very sweet. She's going to come on with me some night, you guys. She lives in Pullman and works at the university and worked there at the time that this happened. So thank you so much. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on with me tonight. I will be, yeah, it is a woman, Gray. I will be going through more of the documents, and we'll be talking more about them another time. Doing some more of the little nuggets from the documents and doing a couple of those kind of what you call standalone videos, self-contained videos, because it seems like a lot of people who don't have time to sit and watch the live like those. So I will definitely do a couple of more of those, and we'll talk soon. I'm going to try to get back on here soon. Tell me what you want to hear about, because I like looking through this and then telling you what I think based on my coverage of the case and having covered past crimes. So thank you so much. Thanks to all the mods, Webby, Monty, Moderator, Melmac, and the docket. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for all the super chats and memberships. And thank you for watching. And if you've been watching on replay, thank you so much. And remember, drop where you're from in the chat. I love seeing that. And it looks like we just got 5 new members. Wow, that's very generous. Ash Axiom, thank you so much for the gifting of the new members. I appreciate it. So thanks, everybody. I will see you back here again very soon. Until next time, have a great night.